to the basement.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Basement Boys podcast. I am Chris Gray, that is Devin Mitchell, and this week we have special guest, weekly contributor to the Pro Football Mania website, profootballmania.com, Eric Minzer.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
No problem. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, so heavy football episode today. We're going to jump right into it as usual, starting out with my favorite pastime, and our guest Eric's favorite pastime. And that is talking about how shit the fucking Jets are. Okay.
There we go.
So shitty. It's not even funny.
Yeah, it's just absolutely terrible. They're actually doing a little better now. They seem almost like a semi-pro team, maybe.
I mean, we're at the point where we're celebrating scoring 9 points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not getting
That's-
I think we've scored 4 touchdowns all season through every quarterback.
I think Pat Mahomes
Mahomes had 5.
5 last night, and
And he didn't play most of the fourth quarter.
oh god, that's just bad.
And
That's
the
just
sad
bad
part
news.
is, Gase just gave up, and this is the only reason we're scoring these 9 points a game.
But you said something 2 weeks ago, whenever Le'Veon Bell was cut, you said something on the pod that I think it's very, it's just what it is that the Jets don't fire coaches midseason.
Yeah,
You
they
look
just
at
don't.
Bowles finished the year, Rex finished the year, Genius finished the year, Herm Edwards, they all had terrible seasons, but they finished the year. So I think you're spot on. The Jets fans just got to give up this idea of he's going to be gone.
Yeah, it's just they're not firing Gase right now. It's
He's-
never been the Johnson's MO.
He's going to be gone. Hopefully,
Yeah,
Sooner
week
rather
after
than
the
later.
season, but he's going to
No,
finish
not
the,
even a week after the season. As soon as that game is done,
yeah.
as soon as he walks back into the locker
Monday
room,
morning. He checks his
not
email.
even Monday morning. I'm saying as soon as the game is done, here's your pink slips. How you doing? See you later. There's your door.
that's
Yeah.
what they've been doing to every player this season. Literally, as they finish the game, they're leaving to go on the bus to wherever they got traded.
Yes.
Who did they just
McClendon.
traded? No, last night they traded.
Avery Williamson.
Yeah, to the
We're-
Steelers.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's wow. Go from winless to undefeated.
Yeah.
Good for him.
You going from the worst to
Yeah.
the best,
And
in a week.
everyone's moving up. Look, fucking Le'Veon Bell,
Yeah.
fucking now Avery Williamson, all going to 100% Super Bowl contenders, and being big pieces. The only holes you could really say is Clyde Edwards-Helaire wasn't playing what everyone expected him to. You bring in Le'Veon Bell, that 1-2 punch,
Yeah.
like
But he's a rookie, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, so
Yep.
you kind of expect at some point his body's not ready for the full 16-game season. You have Le'Veon Bell to come and take some pressure off of him, especially he's a great pass-catching back with Patrick Mahomes, and you have to respect Tyreek Hill on every play. I don't know, did you see the celebration of Mahomes carrying Hill on his
On the
back?
piggyback?
yeah.
I turned to my dad and I said, we're going to see that clip for decades when they talk about this combination.
Oh,
Yo,
yeah.
it's unreal. The Kansas City Chiefs are legit a cheat code.
But you just said something that Edwards-Helaire, his body's not going to be able to hold up to this season. But that's the other big thing about this Le'Veon Bell signing. Adam Gase refused to use him,
Yeah,
so he's basically fresh.
he's
Yeah.
fresh.
He'd get 8 carries a game?
He did
Yep.
not touch the ball. He made it known he didn't want to be part of the system if he wasn't going to play. And I think, for the Jets, we're reaching the Knicks level of bad.
Yeah.
My Knicks. Is that players don't want to be part of this organization.
Yeah.
You saw Jamal Adams, his forcing his way out because he's a defensive guy and didn't want to be part of Adam Gase, who's an offensive guy. He didn't want to be part of his team
Yeah.
because it was just that toxic. Robbie Anderson didn't even take an offer from the Jets. He said, I'm going to go to Carolina.
Yeah.
He's having a tremendous season.
Yo, that might be the best move that he could have done. Going to Carolina and teaming up with Teddy Bridgewater because
Oh, yeah.
he's looking like a brand new player.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what he always should be. He's not the best route running guy, but he's a deep threat. And on a team with some other type of weapon besides him, he could be one of your 1 or 2. But as long as he has someone else who can at least take some eyes off of him,
Oh yeah, and when
He's
they
golden.
have, when they have McCaffrey back,
yeah.
Oof.
you gotta open
Oh.
you gotta open somebody right there. One of the two of them's gonna find a way to beat the defense. But you look at Darnold, and I know it's got to be killing you the same way it's killing me. That you see Baker Mayfield, they go out and they bring in Odell, they bring in Jarvis Landry, Josh Allen. Last year they brought in Cole Beasley and John Brown, and then they got Diggs. Now he's incredible. Even Lamar, they kind of built the running system by getting Ingram. They built an offense around him. Didn't necessarily bring in receivers as weapons, but they made moves around him. Darnold, you look at and
There's nobody.
nobody.
Yeah, the Ravens at least made moves to bring in weapons that complemented Lamar himself
Yeah.
and made him more of a weapon. Sam doesn't have a line. He doesn't have anyone to throw to. The couple people that were like, maybe they could get a couple plays are all hurt now.
Mm-hmm.
He's got
Something about that MetLife field.
36-year-old running back, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Who Gase feeds every fucking play
Yeah.
and wouldn't let Lev touch the ball.
Yo, I'm sorry. It's where we at right now. Week 8.
Yes.
It's time to give Frank Gore. I love you. You great and everything. But
Yeah.
you gotta let P. Ryan get a shot.
I'm sorry.
You gotta see what he's got.
I feel like I always come on this show and like shit on Frank Gore. I love Frank Gore. he's an OG.
he's a fucking
still
man.
doing it.
Absolutely.
But it's just when you're feeding Frank Gore every other play, but wouldn't even let Lev Bell touch a ball, you got problems.
Right.
And it's not Lev Bell, I promise you.
It's not Lev Bell.
No.
And it's not. It's just when you're 0-8, there's so many things going wrong. It's not going to be fixed. And so, like, I don't like the Johnsons' way of handling the situation, but I understand the idea of not firing Gase. Because
Yeah.
I think if you fire him, you bring in somebody new who, first of all, if anybody looks at this Jets team and wants to be the head coach, that's a red flag. They don't know how to make decisions.
Yeah.
Right there. You got to stop them. You sure you want this job? You sure you want the wheel? I don't know. It's not going to matter. They're 0-8. The Bills are 6-2. It's their division. The Patriots look terrible, which is cool.
Yeah.
But the Dolphins are somehow 4-3.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were being led by Fitzmagic, who will run his head into a wall for you.
To be fair, Tua looked fucking fantastic last night.
Tua didn't have to do much. The defense had the touchdown. The defense had the fumble recovery that set them up at the 1, and they had a kick return for a touchdown.
I agree, but at the same time, there are people who can fuck up that not having to do much,
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
and
Absolutely.
he did what he needed to do to win the game, which I'd rather see that than someone who's trying to pad their stats. Because look at Jameis Winston.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
500 yards a game, didn't win the game, though.
But he was in that elusive 30-30 club. 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. How many members? Just Jameis.
1 of 1.
But, sorry, I completely forgot where we just were.
We were talking about Tua, and I think you're right, though, because we've seen the Jets get the ball at opposing 10-yard line against the Cardinals. They got the ball at the 10-yard line in the first play. A delay of game because they just didn't have anything ready.
Yeah.
They go 3 and out and they get a field goal.
Mhm.
That's just the story of the Jets. It's,
Yeah.
It's, I don't know.
It's a damn shame because we're watching them just waste Sam Darnold's first 3-4 years into the league right now.
And everyone's saying get Trevor Lawrence, and I get it, but just the draft capital you can get back for him. I kind of want your opinion on this, because I think Sam Darnold, if they trade him away right now, if they trade him to the Cowboys, if they trade him to one of these teams where their quarterbacks are going down or like they don't, like their quarterback is their weak point, he's going to be a star.
And I think you look at Ryan Tannehill and the year he's having, and this goes back a little bit to last year with Tannehill. Before last season, he was under Gase in
Yeah.
the Dolphins, and he was terrible.
Terrible.
And he goes to a new team. He makes the next step. You look at Jarvis Landry. When he was with the Dolphins, he hated Gase. He wanted out, and he's a superstar. So I know the second that Sam Darnold puts on a helmet that doesn't have the Jets logo on it, he's gonna be
He's
gonna
gonna
be
be
great.
awesome.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
gonna be great.
Oh yeah.
But he has no offensive line. He has no playmakers. Braxton Berrios, Jeff Smith, is that his name? These are guys that
Yeah.
don't belong on the NFL field.
They were on the practice squad at the beginning of this season.
So
All his best weapons.
Right.
the Cowboys should absolutely trade for Darnold. They should trade for. I think they should go for Fitzpatrick. They need. If
Yeah.
they have a quarterback, you still have they still have Ezekiel Elliott. They still have Amari Cooper. They still have playmakers. But that was a brutal game. So
Yeah.
I don't know what the Jets' plans are. It seems like they're going all in for Trevor Lawrence, who doesn't even know if he's gonna come out. And
Look, he doesn't even know if he's going to be healthy enough because right now the man is dealing with COVID.
that's true.
Like,
Yeah.
there's a good chance, like, we don't know what the long-term effects are.
Yeah.
But,
That's the biggest problem.
like, let's just say he gets, like, a respiratory issue and he's not the star that everyone thinks he's going to be. Well, now the Jets just shot themselves in the foot again.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. That's why I think because Sam Darnold is so good still, even though he doesn't have the opportunity to play like it right now, I think they trade out of that slot. You've heard Lawrence kind of start trying to walk back that he's declaring this year, and I think that's because of the Jets.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So if they can trade out of that spot, just not make that whole Eli Manning situation type thing happen, hopefully, and the amount of capital a team will give up for a Trevor Lawrence type talent can reset an organization, especially with the moves they're making right now.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. And there's definitely enough teams that are just, we need a franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
And there's enough teams out there that could go for him. And then you start thinking maybe the Jets, even if they have a later pick in the draft, they could still take Justin Fields if he falls, but I still think he'll probably end up going like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
He's incredibly talented. I don't know, it's just too early for me to look at the draft right now. It's just, I'm going to ignore the Jets and only watch the red zone for the rest of this season.
That's probably your best way to go. The only thing that's keeping me interested in football right now is fantasy.
There we go.
Oh, fantasy. I love and I hate you so much.
I might hate fantasy. We're gonna see how tonight's game goes. If Tom Brady goes off with AB, I'm gonna love fantasy.
No, wait. I think AB's back next week.
Next
Whatever. Well,
He's still got Mike Evans
Yeah.
and
Gronk.
yeah.
So yeah, I only need like 22, something like that.
Playing
So
the Giants.
That's actually
Yeah.
pretty damn manageable.
yeah, that's doable.
I
But
thought you were going to be like, he needs like 40 some odd points.
oh no. Actually, Amari Cooper fucked me hard.
Don't
But
worry.
That was more on Danucci.
Yeah, but
It's not his fault.
I knew I should have put T Higgins in, but I was rocking Amari. He was my like 3rd round pick, so like it felt weird to take him out.
He's had a very disappointing year, but that's what happens when Dak goes down and 3 or 4 offensive linemen.
But up to this point, he was solid. He'd get you 16, 17 a game at the very least. Like
Yeah.
and you could pretty much count on that. I think he got like 2.7 last night.
I think everyone now is just like, all right, well, Dallas is down to their 3rd string quarterback, a rookie quarterback nonetheless, making his first start. All right, let's just double team Amari, try to double Zeke, and then let everyone else.
Zeke didn't really have a good night last
Right,
night.
He did
and
not.
then,
No one had a good night
I
last
had
night.
Zeke
and then-
at 10 points. No one had a good night.
Yeah, and then they're going to try to let everyone else beat them. You know, okay, fine. CeeDee Lamb catches a ball for like what, 5 yards?
Yeah.
Cool. But they're not giving up the touchdown, and Amari's sitting down like with 0 catches or
Yeah.
0 targets or whatnot.
And I just, like we talked about last week, I feel like this team is not like quote unquote giving up, but it gets to a point where you realize you're not making the playoffs. So I'm not going to go that extra yard that could get me hurt to make this play. I'll
Mhm.
just give regular effort where I won't get injured.
Are we
Right.
going to go into roasting the NFC East? Because
We can always do
I
that.
disagree, because I think the Cowboys still are in it. Because the Eagles were so bad that if the Cowboys won that game, which they were in most of the game, they could have been in first place.
Yeah, I get it, but I just think they're realizing at this point with the level, unless they get a quarterback, that team is looking absolutely disgusting, and I have no faith in Mike McCarthy.
Yeah,
to be honest.
absolutely not.
Like-
McCarthy looks terrible. He has no idea what he's doing. He had some play. All right, I'm losing my train of thought here, but he did not handle that game well. But at the same time, Carson Wentz really gave them the opportunities. He stood in there, took the hit, the ball popped out. He's
Yeah.
throwing bad wobbly passes in the wind. He had 4 turnovers, and they still won.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think I saw that the Cowboys, they have the easiest schedule, so to say, to win the division at the very least.
Right.
I think they got 2 teams left above 500.
They
And
have
then-
at least one left with each of the teams in the NFC East, and those games are all winnable for the Cowboys. Those games are all losable for the Cowboys because the Cowboys are really bad. The
That is
whole
true.
division, just top to bottom.
It's a dumpster fire.
We were talking about it last week, and my plan would be, if I was the NFL, if all 4 of those teams finished under 500, you can't let them be that seed in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't think you can let them in the playoffs. So what I think they should do is, if you finish under 500, the top wild card slot technically wins, like gets that seeding of winning the NFC East, and then the next person to make the wild card, just move them up, as long as they're not like under 500 or
So the
whatever.
NFC East team would still make the playoffs and not have the home game, or just you have to be 500 to make the playoffs?
Yeah, that's how I would do it. Just you have to be 500 to make the playoffs. Like
That
like-
makes sense to me. It's college football, bowl eligibility. You got to be 500 to play in the postseason.
Right.
Because right now you see the 49ers are 4-4, and they'd be in first place in the East, and they're dead last in the West.
Yeah.
yeah,
And I think I saw that if every team goes 3-3 for the division, and then they lose out for the rest of the games, you're looking at the Eagles at like 4-11-1, as the champions of the NFC East.
That's fucking fantastic.
Like-
I mean, at that point, you kind of want to cheer for it, right? You want to see
Yeah.
a 4-win team host the playoff game.
Yeah, right?
I mean-
and then just imagine that's when they just finally like dial in whatever they're trying to dial in, and they just figure it out and go on a run.
Well, you know what they
That'd
say.
be- that'd
The
be
playoffs are a brand new season, so I can
That
totally
would
see that
be
shit
the-
happening.
Oh my god, I don't think I'd root for anything more than that. I don't care which team it was. I don't care if it was the Giants, the Washington football team, and the
Cowboys.
Cowboys and the Eagles. I don't care which one. I'd be pulling so hard.
Just want the chaos situation.
Yeah.
Just want to see whoever wins it, 10-1, 4-11-1.
4-11-1.
Whatever it is, just a horrible record. They have the home seed. They're going to have to host the Rams, maybe. I don't know. There's a lot of good teams that are going to finish behind them because of virtue of the conferences.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It would.
And it would
It'd
give
be a
me
shit
some
show.
hope that the Jets might ever be actually able to make a playoff run.
Listen,
Let's not
if,
get
that,
crazy.
if that's all you need to get into the playoffs.
yo, realignment. Bring the Jets to the NFC East.
I mean, you'd have a last place in the league. I mean, in the division.
I still don't think they'd win a game.
Yeah, that's a sad part. Okay.
Ugh.
So, all right. So we've
But-
been absolutely miserable.
Yeah.
So,
in some other great news, fucking Dalvin Cook is
went off.
back.
Went off.
That 2 weeks he was out or something like that with the injury. Went back to the playbook. Was like, oh shit, I know what to do. Give me the ball, coach.
Oh man, shit! I'm Dalvin Cook. I forgot. Okay.
Yo, let's get cooking. Everyone over there being like, yo, Russ is
Pun
cooking right now.
intended.
Yes.
You know that pun was intended. Come on.
He's like, I'm going to say it. Let's see.
He messed me up. No, but I was saying that like everyone's over there on the West Coast being like, yo, Russ is cooking right now. Dalvin Cook's like, yo, let's not forget about me and what I could do. And he just went off. 4 touchdowns.
Keep going.
Sorry. 4 touchdowns. First time that the Vikings have had a 4.
We cooking out here. All right. We cooking. All right. I'm done with it. I had to make the joke.
It's okay. I appreciate that.
Chef's kiss.
But no, but he had 4 touch. It was the first time the Vikings have had like a 4 touchdown game since Ahmad Rashad.
Yeah.
And for those of y'all that don't remember, because it took me a while to realize, Ahmad Rashad actually played football. I thought growing up he was just a guy on NBA TV.
No, it's been a while.
Yeah,
It's been a while. I get like that with Chris Collinsworth. When he goes on his... Now here's a guy, when he goes his speeches, like, oh yeah, he was actually a really good player.
right.
But I'm looking at the numbers right now for the Vikings. Dalvin Cook had 163 rush yards, but he was also their leading receiver with 63 receiving yards on 2 catches. Just 2 catches. How much of it do you think is that he said, hey, Mike Zimmer, I want the ball as much as possible? And how much of it do you think is that they don't trust Kirk Cousins very much? Kirk Cousins only threw 14 passes. 11 for 14, but 14 passes in a full game. That's not the guy that you signed to that massive contract 2 years ago.
But I feel like that's what they've been doing though for the last 2 seasons at least. Is okay. We got Dalvin Cook. We're going to run the ball as much as humanly possible, and Kirk throw the ball 10 times, maybe 12.
And I think that's just the recipe for Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk Cousins is a game manager.
Yeah.
And he's a very high-end game manager, but he's not the guy who's going to be throwing as much as Andy Dalton shouldn't have been that guy either. He's not the guy that's going to be having a game where he's throwing 50 passes.
Well, he's the guy that's getting a lot of money to be a game manager.
That's true.
Yep.
And he also cooks his steaks with full tinfoil on and has very, very rare, very well done steaks. He's a very strange grill master, but that's his problems. But it spills onto the field. Sometimes that's why him and Adam Thielen, you see them yelling at each other. You thought it was about the gameplay? No, it was all about the steaks.
Yo,
Yo, you got to have some pink in the middle, my guy. What are you doing?
Are we worried about the Packers now?
Oh, yeah. I've been worried about the Packers this whole season because Aaron Rodgers is back. And again, now that he's out of Mike McCarthy's system. I feel like, once again, that's going back to like how we looked at the form, like Tannehill and them under Gase. You see that the last few years under Mike McCarthy, he has not been looking. Aaron Rodgers has not been looking like Aaron Rodgers. Everyone thinks he's his old guy. He's finally over the hill. Blah 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 blah. But now he's coming back. He's in a new system. He's not with Mike McCarthy, and he's the Aaron that everyone expected Aaron to be.
He looks like he's having fun again.
Yeah.
Yep. He's going out there, slinging the rock, having fun, drinking scotch with the boys after the games and
Yeah.
everything. And he's legit just having probably the most fun he's ever had, like, as an NFL quarterback right
So
now.
we think this loss was because the defense just could not stop Dalvin Cook.
That and probably because Aaron Jones wasn't in the game. I know a couple other players were banged up, too.
That's true.
And you also just never know what's going on week to week with these players because, you know what I mean? Like, it could be something as simple as, one of the defensive linemen who's usually pretty good was having a rough week.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Wasn't sleeping well, wasn't this, that, like his ankle was acting up. So you never really know.
Right.
It's always like little things like that. So when a team has been like cooking the way they are and then has a slip up game like this, I always think as long as it stays one game, there's other factors. They're humans. This is real life. Shit happens.
It was also a divisional game. and
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Vikings and Packers hate each
A
other.
lot of divisional games this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm just worried for the Packers because if you're a Packers fan, you have the 49ers coming to town on Thursday,
Mhm.
and they're really banged up, but that's their whole offense is just run the ball. Like, that's why you see the fourth string running back, Hastie's, coming in and having success. And if Dalvin Cook can feed on them like this, I don't know. It's not looking good for a team that loves to run the ball like the 49ers do coming to town.
But at the same time, you have to factor in that that's Dalvin Cook on a game where he's just coming back. He's probably hungry. He's probably has something to prove because people have been writing that team off.
Mhm.
It's like you said, a divisional game and stuff like that. But even with their running back by committee, which usually has some success, like a decent amount of success with the 49ers, it's not Dalvin Cook. None of them. You know what I
you're
mean?
absolutely right. Dalvin Cook's a different beast. I just think that if I'm the Packers and you see the 49ers coming to town, you gotta, take all of your game preps very serious. You gotta pay a lot of attention because I can see this being a game where, yes, Jimmy G left the game hurt. Kittle left the game hurt. If they still come back and play on Thursday, I could see the Packers going, just not stopping them and going 5-3, which still they're just good position. But if 4-0, they were looking like the hottest shit in the
Yeah.
world. Can we curse on this podcast?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
fuck yeah.
Yes.
Fuck yeah.
All day.
We
Okay,
fucking
so-
be dropping fucking bombs left and fucking right.
They get rocked by the Bucks. I said the Patriots 'cause I think Tom Brady.
it's okay.
I hate it. The Bucks spanked the Packers. The Packers come out and they had a good win against the Texans, but
Yep.
the Texans suck, and now they lose at home. I'm just saying, like, I think the Packers are a really good team, but if there's ever a part of the season where you see the wheels start sliding off the rails a little bit, it's when you get in this skid, because if they lose to the 49ers, that's 3 out of 4.
Right.
I don't think they got anything to worry about because the Bears are behind them in the division, and the Bears don't look very good. But I think if you're talking about the Packers as a Super Bowl team, I'm starting to get a little nervous.
Yeah,
Well-
I think the 49ers game is probably the determining factor at the moment. It's if you go back-to-back weeks and they play the same style and you still can't handle it, that's where that's where I think the slide actually starts. Like, yes, they lost the game before, and now they lost this one, 2 games in a row. That's never good, but I'm not quite there to write them off yet. I feel like the next game is really the one where if it happens, I'm just like, all right, we have basically a code on how to beat you.
Well, I'm looking at the schedule. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, but going off what you were saying, where we don't know like what's going on in the team meetings and everything, with the Vikings being 1-5 going into the game, I wonder if they were like, all right, the Vikings should be cake, let's focus on the Niners because what they did to us in the NFC Championship game, where they just ran the ball down our throat and they couldn't do anything about it. I wonder if they were all just already at that game being like, all right, circled on the calendar, stars, like we gotta show up, and kind of took the Vikings for granted.
Yeah, and that's definitely a big thing I would say too, that happens. Like, teams want to get retribution when they get embarrassed like that. So the fact like I definitely think that could be a contributing factor of them being just like, all right, if we're winning one fucking game this year, it's this one.
Right.
And like players go hard for that.
And like you said, divisional rivals, that always sparks it up. You saw the tempers flaring in the Pittsburgh Baltimore game, always
yeah.
flaring up, but then you saw it in the Chargers Broncos game. Then the Bears and Saints aren't division rivals, and they had a real fight.
But I think Niners and Seahawks, they got into a bit of a scuffle as well.
They did.
Yeah, this was
A lot of divisional big, a lot of tension, big angry games coming out. The Ravens Steelers was the game of the week. Coming into it, I watched that game. I thought it was a great game. If I'm the Steelers, I'm really excited because I think this team is really for real, and I think they could definitely put up a fight to the Chiefs and challenge them. But I think the Ravens, you gotta get a little nervous. If you're a Ravens fan, I'm not gonna call your team a fraud. They're not frauds, but I'm starting to get a little worried that Lamar Jackson can't win the big games.
he's definitely coming back to earth, and I don't think it helped that I forget his name right now, but they just made him the highest paid offensive lineman, and
Yeah.
Yeah, the left tackle.
yeah,
Ronnie something.
It does not help that he went out, obviously, but
Season ending too.
yeah, it's never what you want to see.
No. But I do agree that like the Ravens, they're in a lot of trouble. Like Lamar, he can't do it by himself. They need to figure out that running game because last year what worked for them was the fact that you knew Lamar could throw, but he could also run. But also you had Ingram and whoever else were able to run the ball. And I don't know if they're just like, okay, let's try something new and go more pass heavy than run heavy. But they're not running the ball as much. Like
What's worrying to me is I'm starting to feel like, just from interviews I've heard about him, and maybe not as bad, but I feel like he's starting to get kind of like the RG3 mentality where I want to prove I can pass. I'm a gunslinger. I'm a pocket passer and quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not what got you to the dance.
And he does have RG3 behind him too.
And do not get me wrong. You can play like pocket football. You can throw the ball. I'm not trying to say Lamar Jackson is not that guy. But the reason you excel, the reason you won MVP is because you have the ability to be a threat either way. And because of that, you're always open. You always have some form of big playability because whether they drop back to try to get the pass game and then you're off on foot. You know what I mean? Like,
do you think he's forcing throws and that's why he's throwing more interceptions this year?
I think a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what's a big difference. Because J.K. Dobbins, the rookie from Ohio State, he had a great game. He had, I think, 120 yards, 115 yards. He looked good. And the Steelers, the Steelers have a great defense. So I think with Lamar, I think it's a mental thing. And I think you're right, where he's trying to prove that he can be a big game passer. Because you saw it against the Chiefs. He was turning the ball over, and that was, their first loss this season. Then they played the Steelers, another top-tier team, and they're struggling. So I think the Ravens, I think they know who they are, and it's whether or not they stick to it. Because if you're going to throw the ball and you have TJ Watt coming in your face, and you have... That sounded funny. You have TJ Watt pressuring the quarterback, and Minkah Fitzpatrick in the secondary. I think Lamar I think you're right. He's got to stick to the checkdowns and running the option.
And again, I'm not saying he can't, when the opportunity's there, go for the bomb, go for this, go for that. Like, he can make these throws. I'm not saying he can't, but he's trying to, like you said, he's trying to force these throws. He's not letting the throws come to him. Last year, I feel like he was taking what the defense gave him, where this year, I think he's trying to tell the defense what he's going to get.
Exactly.
And I think that's his problem right now.
Very well said. And I think the defenses, in general, have very hard time planning. You can't really script for a Lamar because you could have, like you said, everything set, and then he breaks off for a 50-yard run. Like, that's how he scored late in the game to give them a lead. He just took off from the 25, and he was in the end zone. It was awesome. But I think when he tries to say, I want to be the passing quarterback, and he throws downfield, and that's when the Steelers got to him. And then the Steelers, they're so good that you can't afford to make those mistakes.
Yeah. Their defense is fantastic this year.
No, yeah, they're blowing me away this year, because going into this year, everyone was just like, oh, Big Ben's back, Steelers are going to be a problem, and I was just like, what are you guys seeing that I'm not seeing? But I was proven the fuck wrong. Like, they're they're firing on all cylinders.
Mhm.
Like, I understand after last season, Ben kind of like figured out all his injury troubles and like rehab the right way, and like is coming into this year a lot healthier than he has been in previous. But like, I just didn't see where they got that much better. But I can't argue it anymore. I really can't.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin has to be like in the, I would say, the driver's seat for Coach of the Year right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he just beat Tony Dungy's record as the most wins by.
And then in the spirit of Halloween, the lights went out. We're doing a creepy basement vibe.
Yeah.
On actual Halloween, I was in a cabin in the woods, so I'm all about it.
All right, guys, jumping back into it real quick. All power just went out in the studio right now, but we're powering through. Got a little light here. I got enough juice to finish recording this and run one of my interfaces that we were using.
Jesus Christ. Like came
So-
out of nowhere.
Things might sound a little different, might look a little different, but we're gonna finish this show because I don't give a fuck. All right.
We ain't gonna let Mother Nature stop us. Not down here in the basement.
All right.
Yeah, so them Steelers are looking phenomenal. And the great thing about the Steelers, I don't know how they do this. They discover wide receivers in the late rounds. Like, and they become diamonds in the rough. You
Yep.
look at like AB, I think he might have been like a 5th round pick or a 6th round pick.
Something late. He came out of the MAC. No one took him serious.
Yeah. Chase Claypool, rookie, lighting it up this year. Deontay Johnson, lighting it up when healthy.
Juju having a great year too when he plays.
Yeah. And even before that, you got Santonio Holmes, Hines Ward. Like, they just know how to draft great receivers. And for as long as Big Ben has been there and healthy, look at the receiver that he's been thrown to. Like, it's a great combination.
But I think that's part of the deal, and obviously it was a big scandal that everyone thinks Green Bay should have went like this. When you have the quarterback that you know is set for as long as Big Ben's been there, you can spend that capital in the places to surround that quarterback. And again, just looking at the like Packers situation, everyone always talks about, oh, Aaron Rodgers needs another weapon. Aaron Rodgers needs another weapon, but they spend it on Jordan Love.
Mm-hmm.
But because I think that's what the like Pittsburgh does so well is because they know, okay, we got Ben. We're sticking with Ben as long as Ben wants to rock. We'll figure it out after. But let's give Ben every opportunity to win while he's here and spend that capital in the right way to help the long-term piece they know they're going to have.
And that's how you see the Steelers at the polar opposite of the Jets, where the Steelers, they're like, we have our franchise quarterback. We're going to build around him. We have a great offensive line. They had the Pouncey brothers. They always have a good line. They bring in the receivers they need. James Conner came in and, like, I mean, not to the extent of Le'Veon Bell, but he filled the running back position just as good as they need. They're 7-0. They know what they're doing. And I completely agree that the Packers going for a quarterback made no sense. Devontae Adams, I think, said something along the lines of, like, he was surprised by it. The only thing I could think of is they just got this backup quarterback to try to light a fire behind Aaron Rodgers and piss him off.
Well, I also think it's kind of their MO because they did the exact same thing to Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
That's true.
But he seems to be handling it a little better than Favre, even though they've come out in recent years like disputing whether it was as contentious as like everyone makes it out to be. But you can still tell it wasn't the best relationship.
Oh, yeah.
At least at first.
Yeah.
Like you could tell Favre kind of resented it then, where Aaron's kind of leaned into it a little more, and it's just like, look, I'm not gonna be that old asshole who's giving you shit just because you're here, like,
Right.
But he's also like, yeah, I'm gonna have a fucking MVP caliber year
I'm
just to make sure you stay right where the fuck
Right.
you are.
Exactly.
I'm going to keep you on the bench. I'm going to teach you some shit, but I'm going to keep you on the bench.
And then when I feel like leaving, you can have it.
Right.
Like,
When everyone's all said and done, I'm like, all right, you know what? Give the kid a chance now. Let's go.
and who knows? I mean, look how that worked out for Jimmy G. Jimmy G's a trash quarterback, but everyone was willing to give up so much for him just because he was Tom Brady's backup.
Oh,
he
my
got the
goodness.
Belichick bump.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he did.
Which I don't know exists anymore after this season.
So that's another thing I was reading about. Do you think this is the Brady's coming out and saying, look, it was all me all these years. The Belichick Patriots right now are 2-5, 2-6,
I believe so.
and Brady's going to be 6-2 after tonight. I'm sorry, Giants.
It's
but
okay. We understand that we lose in this game. There's no way. Their defense is too fucking good.
Their
Like,
defense is really good. So I wrote an article about Antonio Brown joining them, and I did some research, and they coming into this week, they had the third fewest yards allowed and the second most sacks. It's the defense that's really leading the team when you have Brady, Gronk, Mike Evans, Godwin, Scotty Miller's having a good year, and now Antonio Brown's going to join them.
Yeah. Like we were talking about last week, it is the greatest wide receiving, like, not just wide receiving core, just receiving core I've ever seen in my life. I think it might be the greatest receiving core ever. Like, their top 3 guys could all be ones on any other team.
oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is incredible. Then you throw in Gronk. Then you throw in Leonard Fournette, who's having a resurgence year.
Leonard Fournette's definitely benefiting from what we call not being on the Jaguars.
Yeah. that usually does
That does
help a
help.
little bit.
I'm not saying you're going to be a star, but being on the Jaguars is not going to turn you into a star. But Ronald Johnson's having
unless you have a sick mustache.
That's true.
Didn't he break his hand though? Isn't he out?
He's out. Not quite broken, but I think he like tore a ligament.
Pretty much broken hand, like LeBron.
Almost.
Okay.
But
When LeBron lost to the Warriors, and he said he had a pretty much broken hand that
yeah.
he played the entire series and didn't miss any time with, but it's pretty much broken.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he's supposedly Gardner Minshew will be inactive for next week's game.
I'm just talking about I've never seen someone come in and, like, he played well last year, but he didn't light it up. But just, I feel like him and Baker Mayfield, for some reason, just came in, didn't play particularly great, didn't play good, but didn't play particularly, like, nothing you'd write home about, but for some reason, just got the rub, either from a sick mustache or just waking up feeling
They
dangerous.
just got the swagger to them. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I read last year Gardner Minshew was still driving around in like some beat up Honda Accord that he had like from high school.
Well, have you heard the story of his freshman year? He wanted to be a medical redshirt, so he got loose off the Jack Daniels and took a hammer to his hand.
Yo, actually,
No,
I did
he
hear about
wouldn't.
that.
Yeah, Gardner Minshew. He broke his own hand to get a medical redshirt, and then he transferred, I think, to Washington State
Uh-huh.
with Mike Leach, and it was just, yeah, he actually had a really good college career, but playing for Mike Leach, everybody just passes the ball, right? That's the thing. Nobody expected anything from him, and he came out. He was all right, but I think just playing for the Jaguars, nothing good's gonna come. So that's why with Leonard Fournette playing for the Bucks with a really good offense, he's having a really good year.
Yeah.
Well, Ronald Jones is having an incredible year, breakout year.
Right.
But Leonard Fournette is having a good
Is having a year that he hasn't had in a couple
Right.
years.
exactly.
Ronald Jones is trying to show the league, like, hey, I'm a good running back. Keep me on this team and pay me, or someone come get me.
Yeah. Well, everyone's breakout year tends to be in their contract year because, hey, I'm playing for fucking a lot of money at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Like, I might be a little more willing to put my body on the line and take some risk if it means an extra fucking $10 million on my contract. So, yeah, that whole... The Bucks are the Avengers. I know that joke's been made a million times, but it's really the only way to explain them. Like...
Yeah. Brady is Thanos and just grabbing.
The Bucks
All the
became what
stones.
we thought the Browns were going to be last year.
Yes. But the Bucks also, they're doing it on defense because JPP is having a very good year. He's got, I think, 5.5 sacks, and he's going to be coming into the Meadowlands, getting his revenge game.
Oh,
Oh.
and he's already said, yo, I'm hyped for this one.
Yeah, he said, I'm going to kill the Giants.
And
Yeah.
then standing next to him, you have Steve McClendon, his welcome back to New York game. You have Ndamukong Suh, who has made it very well known he does not like quarterbacks.
Yes.
He's a very angry man when it comes specifically to quarterbacks.
I'm pretty sure Aaron Rodgers can answer that question for us, too.
Aaron Rodgers can tell you personally how much he does not like quarterbacks. What's your prediction for tonight?
Man, we're going to get slaughtered, but
Okay, yeah,
Did you-
well,
did you
we
cover
knew
the
that, but just
spread?
like how bad?
what's the spread?
Last I saw was 12. Let's check the morning.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm taking the over.
Bro, seriously,
I'm
like,
taking the over.
we can't even talk because the spread was 19.5 last night and we still didn't beat it.
Yeah.
if
Yeah,
I had
no power means this isn't really going to do much. So we'll get the numbers. Comment below. Spread is the prediction.
No, but if I had to pick, and I'm just gonna throw a random score out there, I could see it being like 38 to 38-6.
I think it's going to be that bad of an onslaught.
Oh, I do. I love my boys. Go Big Blue, but yeah, 38-6.
I mean, you got Sterling Shepard back, so I mean, like, that's a little bit of a plus, but what else? Like, that offense does not have a lot. Dan
That's what I'm
Jones is
saying.
fast. That's about it. Like,
He's fast until he trips over his own feet.
yeah, exactly. Sam might be seeing ghosts, but you're tripping on him. Alright, so-
No, but I'm saying, like, yeah, Sterling Shepard's back. He's healthy. And we got Darius Slayton, who has the potential to, like, break out and get you that big run. But that Bucks defense is just so damn good. Like,
And
we
you
might
got to think the Giants might not. I don't think they're going to have Will Hernandez, right?
probably not, because he
And-
still probably has COVID.
And then the line had to take a couple days off of practice to get their negative tests out. I don't think it's going to be a very fun day for Daniel Jones. He's going to be seeing a lot of turf.
Honestly, the best game plan might just try to be dump the ball to Wayne Gallman and try to let him run and I don't know,
Hope.
try to
Yeah.
survive that.
Hope for the best.
Yeah.
I mean, I really just, I don't see, I have no idea what they could even do against that team. That's kind of what worries me the most.
I think what the Bucks showed their only weakness when I think they played the Bears on that Thursday night game was that the Bucks were giving up the 7-yard slant routes, right? Like with Nick Foles, the Bears weren't taking shots downfield, but they were able to get 1st and 10, pick up 7 yards. 2nd and 3, pick up 6 yards. They were able to get the little,
the
what's it
dink and
called?
dunks.
Exactly, like the short little like chicken shit bullshit passes and move downfield. And the Giants, Slayton, like you said, I think Slayton's really good. Shepard back definitely helps. But I don't know what that defense is going to be able to do to stop Tom Brady and every good receiver that they have.
Even
Except
like
actually Godwin is out, so you have one less target to worry about.
yeah, a broken finger can stop Chris Godwin.
He's not playing.
Yeah, I know. This is so bad.
But at this point, you don't need him to play this game. Like, why risk injuring it further? You know what I
Right.
mean?
Of course, yeah.
Because you have AB just waiting one more week.
Yeah.
Probably sitting there with that playbook. All right, coach, I'm going to be ready. Come practice on Wednesday. I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
But just again, no offense, Dev.
Not
You're playing the Giants, so like, there's no need to rush him back this week. Like, even if he could play, even if it would suck, like, you don't need to risk him like injuring the hand even further
Right.
for a team you know you're gonna beat them.
Yeah.
Right.
They're going to walk into this game and it's not going to be very pretty for the Giants. I'm just really excited for next week when they play the Saints, and that's two very good teams, and Antonio Brown's going to be active.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in theory, Michael Thomas could be active. Wishful
Oof.
thinking.
What's his deal? Is he nuts? I can't tell if Michael Thomas is nuts. Didn't he get into a fight?
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. Like, you hear from players all the time, practice fights are a thing. I don't understand why this went to the next level.
That's
You know
true.
what I mean?
I
Like,
don't know.
I
He might have
guess-
said something about someone's mama might have been involved or something.
no, but like, not even that. Like, people like throw punches all the time. The only time you hear about them is like when Geno Smith got his jaw broke, or like Earl Thomas was a problem according to every other Ravens player that has come out and talk about it. So this
Yeah.
this last fight was just kind of like the boiling over
Right.
of the 19 other fights he's probably
They
already
said-
had this season.
They said Earl Thomas was showing up late to practice and wasn't taking it serious, and he just kind of had this attitude of I'm the vet, I'm the guy around here, and everybody was saying like, dude, it's your second year with the team, it's not your team.
Yeah. And so I want to know why this fight was made such a big deal. Because if you like any other interview I've seen with like active players, they're just like, this type of stuff happens. Like probably once a week. Like
Right.
you're a bunch of guys running headfirst into each other, like your adrenaline's up, you're moving, you're running, you're throwing, you're whatever, like shit happens.
I think this is just because he's been hurt and hasn't played. So when you have the opportunity to get him back and you have to wait another week because of this, Like if he's going to miss the game with an injury, he misses the game with an injury.
Right.
If he's coming back from an injury and misses the game because he's getting into a fight, it starts aggravating. Definitely Sean Payton, and the Saints didn't look good. I watched that game against the Bears. That game went down to the final seconds of overtime to get a field goal win. I mean, they were without Emmanuel Sanders also, so it was all Alvin Kamara. But if you're the Saints, you want Michael Thomas on the field every single play.
And I agree with that. That like he's been injured all season long. I think he's played most of the game in week 1, and then has just been injured, whether it been hamstring or ankle injury.
No, but see, like that was my whole point is like why the suspension? Apparently, like what I'm saying is apparently these things happen all the time. Like you might get a fine, but no one's like you're not sitting out a game over a fight, whether it's an actual fist fight where punches are being thrown. Like what made this fight so next level?
You're saying there's something going on behind the scenes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Probably is. I mean, who knows? Who knows? Like the Saints have been known to run a very close, quiet organization,
Like
where
a tight ship, yeah.
where you don't hear the problems that are happening behind the scenes. You just hear, oh yeah, like there might be a little scuffle, but it's fine.
Yeah, it all comes out afterwards, like Bounty Gate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Our guy Greg Williams, let's go.
but who really knows? Like, is Michael Thomas like just frustrated with the Saints, or is he frustrated with his being injured, or did someone like disrespect him big time?
Or is he turning into the quote unquote diva wide receiver? Like, which I usually hate that term, but like Antonio Brown wasn't a diva wide receiver. Like there are actual ones. I just hate that everyone gets thrown, like it gets thrown on everyone. But is it a problem with the Steelers? Is it a problem with Michael Thomas himself? Is it not the Steelers, the Saints. There is a bigger story to this. And I'm very curious of what it's going to be when it comes out.
We're going to have to wait and see.
Yeah. I mean, right now everyone's just focused on Drew Brees because I believe he now has the most touchdowns.
I feel like he sets some record like that every week, and then Brady comes and resets it, and then they just go back and forth, and I don't know, it's just weird. The weirdest thing was when they had him stop the game, and they gave him, like, they gave him the award for something, and they literally handed him a piece of paper, and they were like, congrats, you set the new touchdown record. Here's a piece of paper. Let's go back to playing football.
Wow.
It is weird. I don't know. Drew Brees is great, and I do think he's going to go down as one of the greatest of all time. He's had all the records. He won the Super Bowl, but I think this is probably his last year before the wheels start really falling off.
Oh, yeah.
You could see it in the arm strength where all of his passes, like he's having success, but it's screens to Kamara, it's short touchdown passes to Jared Cook, and without Michael Thomas, you can see his entire game plan is different.
Well, even look at last year when he was like going up to like right before he got hurt. It was already looking a little iffy and stuff. Gets hurt. I think he tore his a ligament in the thumb, or was it UCL injury or something like that. But he missed 5 weeks. Comes back in time for the playoffs. Looks fresh, ready to go. That's got to be a red flag right there.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, at that age, a 16-game season is going to weigh on you. Like, I don't care who you are, unless you're Tom Brady, who seems to just have the fountain of youth at his house, plus
all the avocado ice cream he can eat.
like literally eats avocados and 6 chickpeas a night. Like, I'm like, and just, is it just me, or is the past couple of years, has he been looking younger? As well as
I don't know, whatever he's on, we gotta all try it for like the next 20 years because it seems to be working really well.
Yeah. That TB12, like that's a thing.
Yo, as much as I want to shit on it, shit,
like
it's doing work.
You can't argue with results. The guy can play till he's 50 at this rate, like at the rate he's going.
18 touchdowns, 4 interceptions this year.
That's fucking
They've
phenomenal.
won 5 out of 6. They have a plus 80 point differential, which before the Chiefs played the Jets was the most in the league. Now the Chiefs have the most, but they're just steamrolling teams, and I think this is a Bucs team. Like I wrote about a bit in the article, is that this Bucs team is poised to make a championship run, and you bring in Antonio Brown, like Bruce Arians has been saying all week, he's an insurance policy. But that's all you need from him because you have this team that can win the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. They're that good. Antonio Brown comes in, absolute best case, he's Antonio Brown.
Right.
And this team just became the best offense ever, possibly. Like, the unbelievable accolades, the scoring's going to be there. Worst case, he's a pain in the ass, and you cut him. Like, you don't need him.
Yeah. He's literally just an extra toy.
Yep.
For Brady.
Exactly.
That's all it is. And also, just I feel like this move shows that, like, this organization is kind of buying into the Brady way that I feel like Belichick never did, and I think that's the reason he's not on the Patriots anymore. Because if you remember, at the beginning of the season, Arians came out in no uncertain terms and said, "We are not interested in Antonio Brown.
Right.
Antonio Brown will not be a Buccaneer."
Right.
He made it very clear, and then he,
And then Brady was just like, "Look, this is my guy. I want it to happen." He made some moves. He had some conversations, like, and did what he needed to do, and here we are. he's a Buccaneer.
I think for the second half of the season, because assuming they win tonight, they're going to be 6-2, poised for the playoffs. You can baby Antonio Brown into the game plan. Like, let him literally run, a handful of routes each game until he's up to speed. Because remember, he's only played one NFL game in the last 2 years.
Right.
So he needs to get back into shape, and
Mm-hmm.
it's going to take a little while to learn the air raid that Arians runs. But by the time the playoffs comes around, if he's, they say physically he's in great shape, but if he's clicking with Brady and he's got the receiving, the routes down, if they're full speed, I don't know, man, they could really be the first team to win a home Super Bowl because it's going to be in Tampa this year.
Oh shit, that's right.
They could really do it.
Yeah, they really could. And I think another thing that people don't realize is just him having access, like Brady having access to AB last year. Brady, again, we went into this a little bit last week, is his whole thing, the thing that makes him so great is he knows, okay, Godwin's catch range is 4 feet. Evans' catch range is 5 feet. AB's catch range is 5.5 feet. Oh, AB likes to cut at this hash. Chris Godwin likes to cut at this hash. He already has some of that, like, downloaded into his brain. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So he's not going to have that feel out period as much as he would have with a Mike Evans or a Brady, even though they had that whole offseason to kind of figure that out. He has that. Tom Brady literally, like, downloads the player's stats when they
Yep.
come into his vicinity.
It just shows how much tape he watches, not only on the defense, but on his own guys to
Oh,
know
yeah.
where they are. And he loves, his thing's always been evenly distributing the ball, but I looked it up, and his top 4 receivers, in terms of catches, number 1 has 25 catches, number 2 has 25 catches, number 3 has 22, number 4 has 22. So you have a very even ball distribution. Antonio Brown's going to be thrown in there as, like, potentially the third option if you have Evans and Godwin on the field. I mean, you saw the way that Antonio Brown acted as a mentor for Juju, and Juju's now this great slot receiver. If he can help Godwin, who already is a Pro Bowl player, that's going to make Godwin that much better of a pro. You have Evans at 6'5", Gronk at 6'6". Those are the red zone guys. You have the running game with Rojo and Leonard Fournette, like we were talking about. Antonio Brown really doesn't have to do all that much for this team, but he still brings Antonio Brown. I mean, 100 catches, 1,200 yards, 6 straight seasons. Like, if he's fully there, sky's the limit.
And I
But-
truly think he will be fully there. Like, this is his redemption tour, and he wants to prove that he can still play, and he's got all his demons situated and everything. And shit, it's just looking great for the Bucs.
That's the other thing, though. When AB came into the Patriots, he got immediately catapulted to, like, the 1-2 slot on the outside. They're not going to do that with him in the Bucs.
No.
Right.
They already have the system out. You could not stop AB on the outside. He's going to be, if he's even 3/4 or a half as good as he was before this whole situation, could you imagine trying to stop AB in the slot
No.
No.
with a linebacker or safety?
No.
Like, are you fucking kidding me?
His last full season, he had 15 touchdowns in 15 games. So he's half of that. You're getting a touchdown every other game.
Right.
I just really hope.
And again, that's him as the one on the outside
Yeah.
against their best corner.
Yeah, now he's going to be getting third best corner on a nickel back, or you
linebacker.
can't put a linebacker on him. That's just a joke.
Yeah.
I know, but like, you can't put a. What are you gonna do? You can't like.
You're gonna have to devote attention to him.
You're
Yeah.
going to have to sacrifice, like, the upfront game, take a linebacker out somewhere.
Or you have to have a safety watch so he doesn't go deep over you. Like, you have to devote attention to him. And that could mean even more more space for Godwin or Evans or Scotty Miller, whoever's the guy out there. I mean, again, Jets fan, my team's eliminated. I get it. I want to see a Steelers Bucks Super Bowl. You could finally see Big Ben versus Antonio Brown, the rematch.
Oh
You
yeah.
could see Brady versus the Steelers
Ooh.
again,
And
Oh
you,
my
you got to
goodness.
remember.
and it's possible.
You got to
It is
remember
now.
his relationship with Juju. Like you said, it started out good.
Social media subtweeting each other like 10-year-old girls.
Oh my
12-year-old girls.
goodness.
I don't know when Twitter starts for girls, but
Yo, I'm just thinking though that oh my goodness, Bucks and Steelers like
That's a pretty amazing Super Bowl right there. I'm not gonna
you
lie.
get the storylines for weeks.
Oh,
and
man.
the Steelers have a great defense and a defense that I think could keep up with the Bucks offense.
And you have Bruce Arians coached the Cardinals when they lost in the Super Bowl to the Steelers.
He was also the coach for the Steelers when AB was there in his
Yeah.
like first year.
He was their
Oh
his
yeah.
rookie and second year. He was the offensive coordinator, which is I think a good thing because it means that he at least has a connection with AB.
Yeah.
And AB does get a little, he gets a little spicy sometimes. But Antonio Brown, knows Arians. Maybe he could calm down a little. Like Tom Brady, we know isn't going to take that shit.
Right.
And that's I think what it comes down to is like the absolute worst case is AB says something stupid, starts a fight with Godwin, whatever. Tom Brady says, you know what, man, we tried.
Get him out of here.
Pack your stuff.
I mean, I'm also worried a little bit about the whole previous BA and AB relationship because if I just realized that it's BA.
Yeah. I just
Got a little ABBA.
there you go.
Is a lot of the players have come out and like talked about after the fact, after he left the Steelers, just how much they had to accommodate AB to make him to not let all these stories come out before like it all eventually all broke down. It's like apparently he would show up when he felt like he would do this, he would do that, he would call in and say, "Hey, I'm not coming today. I got this to do." Like
the diva receiver.
yeah.
Mhm.
And so I'm worried that he's gonna come in with already like BA having a bad taste for him in his mouth, being like trying to overcompensate hard, being like, "That's not what we're doing here." I'm like blah 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 blah. And that could cause this whole situation to blow up.
But I wouldn't be surprised if
But again, like you said, at that place it's just like, okay, you're cut, bye.
BA is just like if Tom Brady comes up to BA and it's just like, yo, we gotta do something with Antonio. Like, I got him. You just come up with a game plan, I'll deal with Antonio. And if Tom Brady just sits him down, it's like, yo, AB, cut your shit out. Alright? Redemption tour, get your mind right, get focused, let's hash this out and go get some avocado ice cream after practice, and then we'll go kick some more ass.
Also at the same time though, you haven't been hearing these stories from AB in the past few months since I think like the truck driver incident.
Mhm.
So who knows? He might have gone and like sought help. He might have gone to therapy. He might have, or at the very least, hired a handler.
Yeah.
Just someone to be like, "Hey,
Bad idea.
that's bad. Don't do it. Stop." You
Right.
know what I mean?
At least someone to manage his social media so he's not calling out his quarterback on Instagram. But I think with
To be fair, everyone gives AB shit on that. Ben has a known history of going on the local radio show and just shitting on everybody on his team. Like he's like,
but he's
Ben talks shit.
Ben's won the 2 Super Bowls, and like you said, any receiver they plug it in, Ben makes it work. I think Ben is like absolutely everything to the Steelers for the last 15 years, and as much as AB can change the game, and don't get me wrong, like he was absolutely the best receiver in football, he was the more expandable of the two.
No, I 100%.
Oh, yeah.
I 100,000% agree. All I'm saying is everyone shits on AB and then just forgets that Ben
Right.
shit on his
basically
receivers.
started it. And then, I mean, AB took it to a level it didn't need to go. Like, I'm not absolving AB's.
Neither of them were very mature in the
Yeah,
situation.
no.
Yeah, it was just a bad situation altogether. Yeah, that. Now that you put it like that, though, that's probably the Super Bowl I'm rooting for this year.
I think it'll be fun.
That'd be amazing.
Um,
Fuck. Did we just fancy book the Super Bowl and like write all the storylines?
Everyone else, we're just gonna need you to lose out for the rest of the year. Just like do the math, figure it out.
Giants, we got no problem doing that.
We'll get another one next year. It's the Rona Cup anyway, so.
Good luck telling that to Russ Wilson, seeing if he's going to step back so we can get our storyline.
Yeah, right? Russ is just like, hey, you could go fuck yourself, except I would never say that because I'm Russell Wilson, and
Is he one of those guys that doesn't curse?
I don't know, but
I don't think he does.
He's just one of those people that, like, comes off perfect. You know what I mean?
Very, very Captain America kind of nerdy guy.
Yep.
Because I know Phil Rivers doesn't curse.
Right.
Thank Flebbit and like
those
like,
are my favorite Mike stuff because he'll talk shit too. That's the thing.
No, he'll talk poop.
Yes.
Well, because he doesn't know if one of his kids have made the team yet.
Yeah, but
No, he can't have a family dinner. It's break social distancing. So 12 people at a dinner table.
yeah, did they have to like kick 2 kids out for this year because you only allow gatherings
Like,
of 10?
All right, Phil Jr., you're the oldest. You gotta sit outside.
All right, I know my job. I know my role.
Jeez, 11 kids. Wow.
That's fucking crazy.
Buy condoms.
He legit has a starting offense or a defense if they want to play defense.
Yeah,
Like
that's fucking
or special
crazy
teams.
to me.
But we also gotta talk that they're 5-2. They're tied now for
Yeah,
first
that's
place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Titans have lost 2 in a row. I mean, whether or not we thought the Colts were going to be here, the Colts are here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
he does like to throw the ball away to the other team. Probably a little too much.
A little bit. He gets a little, yeah, I think that's the arm strength.
Yeah.
Because we saw it. I remember last year, the very end against the Chargers. The Chargers were against the Chiefs coming downfield. He put together a really nice drive, and at the end, he throws a fade to the end zone, and you could see the ball just didn't quite make it. He got picked off, and that was the end of the game. But I think that defense for the Colts, that's what's really making a difference.
Oh yeah.
They're shutting teams down.
yeah,
I mean,
and I think last year even they were doing pretty well. I just think Jacoby Brissett didn't quite live up to the level they thought, which kind of sucks. That's like, I don't know why, but Jacoby Brissett just seems like a nice guy. Like, he just seems like a guy you want to root for.
Yeah.
but
so
he
when
also got the Belichick bump.
Yeah.
And then got injured.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyone in that quarterback tree, especially for some reason Garoppolo and Brissett, because they were like their similar timing.
Well,
I think they were there together, weren't they?
Yeah.
I think so. And I think they also took over games for when Brady was out.
Yeah.
For suspension and then Garoppolo's injury.
Yeah, and then were they there when? I think at least one of them was there when there were like 1 year Brady actually got injured. I forget.
No.
That was
Castle.
That was Matt
Oh,
Castle.
you're right.
But Matt Castle too, because
Because
remember,
yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then
He got
signed that huge contract to the.
Was it Tennessee?
I think it was the Chiefs.
Was it the Chiefs?
Oh yeah, I think it was.
And he did absolutely nothing because he just got the Belichick. Belichick's got to be getting some kind of like kickback, some kind of like, look, I'll gas you up. You get this giant contract, give me 5%. Because look at Jimmy G, massive contract. He might not start next week.
That's the other thing is, I don't understand why these coaches haven't figured out yet that if Belichick is willing to give him up, there's a reason for it.
Right.
Yes.
Because every time, like, Nate Solder.
Yep.
Perfect example. The reason he let Nate Solder walk is because Nate Solder didn't have what he needed him to have left. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's good at, look what he did with Brady, and Brady is also the kind of the guy that buys in and understands that having success in this league will make him more money outside of the league through marketing and stuff like that. But he was willing to take these cuts, and I don't think another coach besides Bill would have made that sound as good as it did. And then because Brady did it, he can go back to everyone else and say, hey, the guy that should be making the most money out of any of us.
Right. It starts at the
doing it.
top.
Mhm.
So you can take 6 instead of 9.
And,
Right.
And Belichick is, like, to add on to your point, Belichick is the absolute best at finding when a guy is about to take that turn. When they're about to, not necessarily at the peak going down, but about to make that dip in their career because he gave up on Welker.
Yep.
Welker went to the Broncos, had a couple of really good years, but you could tell he was not worth the money. He was not worth signing it. Like,
Right.
James White is now alongside Derrick Henry. But James White is not.
Deion Lewis. No, not
No,
Deion
yeah, you're
Lewis.
right. Deion Lewis.
No, Deion Lewis is on the Giants right now.
Who's the one on the Titans?
It was Deion Lewis.
But he bounced to the Giants.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to cut that because I got that completely wrong.
It's okay. I'm pretty sure he left the Titans because Derrick Henry made him look like a small child.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry makes everyone look like a small child. Let's be clear.
No, but yeah, Deion Lewis left. Wes Welker left. Jamie Collins on defense left. Like, I don't know if Bill's just like has like a chart and it's just like, all right, you get to here, you're done, or if he's just able to see the potential and be like, you're at your peak right now, I'm gonna ship you out, or
I think
you're right there.
I think also a huge part of it is, like, everyone makes a joke all the time, but I think it's one of his biggest attributes. Bill Belichick doesn't really have any emotions.
That's very true.
So he's not going to be like, okay, I can see you starting to trend down, but you've done so much to this team. It's just like, oh, nope, trending down, get him the fuck out of here. I don't even care.
Yep.
It's that sociopath quality that like Kobe had, where he's like, "You're not helping me win. You gotta go."
Yeah. It's like, okay, I get it. I'm your kid's godfather. That's all nice and good. Get the fuck out of my facility. Like,
During football season, fuck you.
yeah.
But hey, I'll see you during the break, right?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. We'll get a beer. It's all good. I'll have my dog like get the beer with you. You know what I mean?
I'll be watching film, but my dog and you can hang out all day.
Yeah, but I don't know how we got to the whole Bill Belichick.
Jimmy G, Paybone.
Yeah.
You're talking a little bit about how Brady's now having this great year and the Patriots are not.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think Cam is done, which is sad because I was a big Cam fan, but watching that game, I mean, he was driving. They could have beat the Bills. They covered the spread, which pisses me off because I had the Bills minus 3.5. But he fumbled it at the end, and his arm strength isn't there. He just, I don't know. I think his days are behind him, and he knows it. He's been saying it too. He can't play at this level
Yeah.
and expect to start.
It sucks though, because what was it, the first 4 games or something like that? He comes out, lights out, letting
Everyone's
people
like,
up.
Cam is back. Like,
Yeah. And then got a touch of the Rona, and now we're seeing that,
Yeah, but you
maybe
also
not.
you also don't know if you don't know if his lungs are back from after that. Like from all avenues, like anywhere I've heard is he didn't have like an extreme case, but again, we don't know really how this affects you long term and all that. So like who knows?
There's so much we just don't know about this disease that we've kind of gotten used to seeing the way that MLB was like, okay, everybody on the Marlins has it. We're just going to not let the Marlins play for a week, but then it'll be fine. And we just kind of went with it. But you're right. Like, we don't know. He could be just not 100%, even though he's recovered and has passed the protocols, but he's still not 100%.
Yeah,
Right.
quite there yet.
And I think just not having him for those 2 games obviously threw a wrench in their whole season because they looked really good against the Raiders and then they got the COVID tests and then they looked terrible since. So I think just simply not being able to practice as a team, not being able to do the walkthroughs as a team, all of that's got to play its role.
Into where we're going.
Right.
It would just break my heart if they were able to get Justin Fields and like become the super team again and build it all back up.
But
Ugh.
I really think at the very least the combination of Brady and Belichick is what made that so good. I think they just complemented each other's, at least on Belichick's side. Brady complemented like the downsides in Belichick's whole system. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. Because I'm gonna be honest, if you look at his head coaching record before, it was not great.
Yeah. He had a short little stint in Cleveland,
Yep.
I remember correctly, in like 94, 95, before they moved.
Yep.
Did, all right, I would say.
I think he had a very, very like heavy losing record, but
Oh, did he?
yeah.
Oh, then I apologize. I stand corrected. And then, where else was he a head coach?
Wasn't he going to be the head coach of the Jets and then didn't actually coach a game?
Yeah. I wasn't going to bring that up, but yeah.
I've gone on my rant, you stupid fucking coffee table napkin.
But yeah, it was
damn
during
it.
the press conference. He was just like,
Literally, Bill
quit.
Parcells goes, I'd like to announce my retirement or wherever, like whatever, and introduce you to the guy I've been grooming to be your next head coach, Bill Belichick. And while he's like introducing him, he's scribbling down on his resignation on a like a napkin on the table and goes, I thank you for letting me have this job and
I
quit.
announced my resignation.
Yeah.
I respectfully decline.
Yeah, basically.
But I think he's always been before basically the Patriots. He was always a coordinator. I know with the Giants.
Yeah, he was Parcells guy.
Yeah, I feel like there might have been another stop before the Giants or like in between.
I think before the Patriots, he didn't have full control over the team, and then once he was able to like really step in and say, "This is my system. This is what I want to do." I think you're right that Brady came in was just the perfect guy to fit the scheme, but also has that same like you said, not the most emotions. Like he has emotions. Clearly, he gets angry, but the most like, I don't care. I'm going to tell you exactly straight to your face what I need you to do.
Yeah.
And I think that combination, clearly, I mean, it worked. They won 20 straight winning seasons. Like, it's not a fluke. I just think that going forward, it'll be interesting to see. Like, right now, Stidham's probably going to be the starting quarterback the rest of the year for the Patriots. I think it'll be interesting if in the offseason they can bring in, a quality quarterback and see if Belichick, what he can do.
Right.
And, I mean, there are probably going to be some options around.
Oh, there definitely will be.
And, like, even if he wants to, like, do something to try to make some sort of headway this year, like we were just talking about, there's Darnold out there, there's Fitzpatrick out there's trying to think who else has, like, a packed quarterback room, depending on what Green Bay decides to do with Rodgers, even though I don't see them getting rid of him anytime soon, just because, at least when they got rid of Favre was kind of on the downturn.
Yep.
Like, if anything, Rodgers is going back up now, so that throws a little bit of wrench in that situation. But, like, I think there's people out there to be found.
There are. We just need to find them.
Right.
What do you think about the Bears quarterback situation?
That's a whole mess.
Oh, God.
Mitch clearly wasn't the guy, and then Foles came in and had the great comeback against the Falcons, and then just he's been very hit or miss. But I think it'd be interesting to see if, like...
I think that's who Nick Foles is, though.
Yeah.
I think he just got lucky that he got on a hit run. Like, not that he can't play, I just think... Again, and I've used this analogy a couple times in the last couple episodes, like, he has a little more of that Ryan Fitzpatrick in him, who, if you talk to anyone, is the smartest football player ever, his Wonderlic score is whatever, but I just think Nick Foles has that same kind of Fitzpatrick. I think it's part of, like, Baker Mayfield's problem, where they're trying so hard to win, and they're so competitive that they'll make the wrong decision to try to force things along. And sometimes it works, and you see them have these great games where Fitzpatrick's throwing 5 touchdowns and blah, 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 or Nick Foles is doing the Philly special because he went to the sideline and said, yo, it's time to hit this one now. But at the same time, so sometimes it works out for them, and then sometimes it just doesn't.
Philly tried to run the Philly special last night without him, and it was terrible. Eagles picked it up. I mean, the Cowboys picked it up right away and just, like, 2-yard, 3-yard loss.
And that defense has not been doing great at all this year, so
Nope.
the fact that they picked anything up is a shocker for them, but... Alright, guys, but, that about wraps it up for us. I was gonna go a little bit into the UFC fights, but with, no lights and just everything going on right now, I think I'll save that for next week's episode, where we can break it down a little bit deeper.
And it got some power.
Yeah, and we talked a shit ton of football this week, so I think we'll just leave it with that. Thanks again, guys. It's the Basement Boys Podcast. I am Chris Gray. That is Devin Mitchell, and that is Eric Mincer. See ya.
Deuces. Say goodbye.
Bye, guys.
Welcome to the basement.